This happened a few years ago. I was hopping between jobs a lot, struggling to find something that paid well enough for me to live on. I found myself working as a security guard for a large warehouse. When they hired me, it was pretty clear they'd never had a security guard before. They basically told me I just needed to walk the perimeter and make sure nobody broke in or stole anything. I found out a few days after getting hired from one of the employees that there had been a couple break-ins overnight recently, so that was the whole reason for hiring me. I probably should have been more worried than I was, but honestly, I thought it was probably just because nobody was in the building overnight. So now that I was there, hopefully it wouldn't be an issue. The first 2 months were fine. Nothing happened at all. I never saw anyone come near the building on the cameras or had any encounters. Considering the pay and the lack of work I had to do, it was the easiest money of my life. Then, on a typical night, I came in at 11 and made sure all the employees and staff had left, then went around and locked the place up. I then went to the security office and double-checked the cameras were working properly and that there were no alerts. But I quickly noticed there was a flag on one of the doors. This meant it wasn't shut or locked properly. I had just gone around and shut and locked all the doors, so I was reasonably confused. I got up and walked through the warehouse to the other side where the supposed unlocked door was. It was still closed, and the bolt looked like it was in still, but after a couple tries, it swung right open. I was really confused now. I looked outside just in case. The whole area around the warehouse was empty fields, and as far as I could see, there was nobody out there. I then turned my attention to the door. I tested the bolt, and it seemed to be okay, but the door would still open after a few tries. So then I looked at the notch in the door that the bolt slid into. Immediately, I found something strange. There was a small piece of wood sitting inside the hole. The way it was stuck inside there, it was very obvious that someone had put it there on purpose to keep the bolt from fully shutting. Having been on duty the night before and not seeing any alerts, this had to have been done recently too. I pulled it out and made sure the door was securely locked this time, then started making my way back to the security office to check the cameras. Maybe an employee had done it earlier in the day for some reason, or if it was someone else. But as I was walking back, an uneasy feeling came over me, and I thought back to the break-ins I was warned about. The whole warehouse was quiet and dark, with only the dim energy-saving lights on, which didn't help me feel any better. I rounded the corner, just about to make it to the office, when I saw something move by one of the storage racks. I could barely see anything, but I made out the shape of what I think was someone's head looking around one of the boxes. I quickly started walking again, trying to pretend like I didn't see them. I made it into the office and locked the door shut, then immediately used the phone to notify the police. My voice was shaky as I was completely terrified. I then put the phone down and logged back into the security system. I looked through each of the live feeds until I got to the one of the hallway I was in. I almost physically jumped from my seat when I saw the footage. There was a man standing right on the other side of the door. The view from the camera was far away, but there was no mistaking that he was holding a weapon in his hand. It looked like maybe a large knife or even a small gun. I sat there in fear, panicking for the whole time I waited, thinking that this guy might shoot the lock off the door or something. After a few minutes, though, he backed away. I followed him on the cameras as he went to the other side of the warehouse and exited through the door I'd just repaired. He then ran off into the fields behind the warehouse. The company and the police worked together to do an investigation, but nothing ever turned up from it. Of course, I quit not too long after that and moved on to a much less stressful job. To this day, I don't know why that man broke in or what he wanted.